LT4s, guys, as you guys know, we've done a couple of LT4 builds already, and we've got many in the shop. Let's take a look at one. Here we just dropped the engine into this LT4. This is our intercooler pump. We got 3 belts on this one. This 8 groove is going to do our supercharger and our power steering. Then we got our water pump and our alternator. Then we got our air compressor in the back. This is a new GM Performance crate engine. Quite a bargain, I must say, for the horsepower that you get. We got our easy mounts in this build. We got a new 8L90. Most of you guys know that the 8L90 is stronger than most of the other transmissions out there, even the 10L80. 10L80 is a strong transmission, but the 8L90 is even stronger, so that's what this customer chose to go with. You can tell it's an 8L90 because we got the dipstick tube on here, where the 10L80 we wouldn't have that option. This build, of course, is going to get the full fuel system. So we have our low side fuel pressure here. There is going to be a modified fuel tank sending unit here for the LT4 pump. It's all GM stuff. Then we're going to run a fuel pump control module. You can see all of our evap stuff back here. Let's take a look at one of these with the body on. This LT4 is just about ready to start. Here's the new power steering pump that we're running. We are running the air intake tube this way, and I'll show you on another build how we've really cleaned things up. Now we are going to be running our modules over here in this big space that's left over. You can see here's our factory GM harness, and this is our ECM mount for the E92. This motor, while larger than the standard LT, is still quite compact. We still got plenty of room in this engine compartment with this LT4 engine, and considering this thing performs near 700 horsepower, and in my opinion, because of the torque, it'll run with or outrun the 700 horsepower engines. It's quite compact. We are running the crankcase breather so that we don't have a lot of blow-by. I think it's pretty cool that GM is now putting the engine builder's name on the engine. We are going to have a sizable intercooler up here, and I'll show that to you on another build. Now I want to say a little something about this radiator. This is a radiator that we designed, and it has 4 headers. So where this tube meets the header tank, there's not just one header here, there's 2. And what that does is it supports this tube better as the chassis flexes. So with this design, the radiator can flex better, and also with our new spring mounts, that even gives it some more room to move as the chassis flexes. Now this Jeep is pretty clean, doesn't have a lot of stuff on it, but let's walk over to another LT4 build. This Jeep has everything on it, everything you can imagine. In fact, a big part of this build was just cleaning up all the electronics. I think you can see here that with all the accessories this Jeep has, it's really heavy, it's really tall, and it's got 40s. It's got the metal cloak game changer on it, and we went with wider axles. These are the 72-inch Dynatracs, and we went with a wider axle because this Jeep is just so tall and heavy that it's going to give him more stability, especially with this LT4. This LT4 has the ECM on the driver's side, which the first few builds had. So another LT4 is born. Let's fire this thing up. Very mild motor considering how much horsepower it puts out, very smooth. Unlike a cam motor that would be rump, 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 this thing is going to tick over at 500 RPM, but still put out close to 700 horsepower. All right, shut it off, Gary. Here is the intercooler we discussed. It's pretty much fills that whole space in there. Now we are running again our dual header radiator, and we're running the Camaro SS fan. So it's a very powerful fan. We haven't had any issues with the LT4 cooling. Now this engine is going to get rail coolers, so there's going to be an engine oil cooler over here, and there's going to be a transmission cooler over here. So what this is doing is it's allowing us to get a lot of the transmission heat and engine heat through the engine oil away from the front of the grill. Because if that fan turns on and it's blowing really hard, or it's sucking really hard, and it's just sucking hot air in, it's just going to make things worse. So offboarding that heat and putting it into the atmosphere is going to make this LT4 run cool. Even with these 40s, black JK, and all this weight. So this JK is going to be on the road real soon, followed by a few others. And of course, we'll be doing some road tests on them. Stay tuned.